Hey guys, it's Dakota from Cardtropolis TCG, and today I'm going to be doing a deck profile for the Weiss Schwarz card game for Persona 5. Um, okay, so I built this deck. When did I build this deck? Kind of last year at the beginning of like COVID. I kind of went on a tear and built a ton of Weiss Schwarz decks. Um, so this was like the second one that I built because I had Conti built. So I'm kind of going in the order of which I like got the decks, I guess. So look forward to like more deck profiles. But yeah, so Persona 5, I really like the art style on this set. I love the black and red and the yellows. It's a very visually appealing set. I've never played the video game, but I did watch like the little short anime, like 12 episodes thing, and I liked it. So I wanted to build the deck. It is a little older now, so it's not like, top tier by any stretch, but I think it's still pretty good. I feel it struggles against like some standby decks, but against a lot of other things, the versatility of the deck is pretty nice. But yeah, some of the cards are just like getting a little outdated. But yeah, so we'll get into the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll get started. So for level zeros, the first one we got is Futaba Sakura, level 0, 2000 power. If there's a marker underneath, it gets +1 level and 1500 power. And then on play, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a thief or coffee character, you may put it face down underneath as a marker. So this is pretty good. It's a 3500 level 1, so it's big. It can't be blown up by like some kind of level 0 suicider or something. The marker thing's pretty good because you can use this. If you hit a climax, then you can like brainstorm. But if not, then you can still brainstorm, and now it's like a 5-card brainstorm, so that's pretty cool. I think overall it's a pretty good card. It's not amazing, but it's not like some decks can get over this nowadays. There's a lot of like back rows that can like help get over this, but by itself, I think it's pretty good, and it's useful like later in the game. It's not 100% like dead. Some level zeros, like as the game goes on, get worse, and this one it has still like a little bit used to it. But that's the only 4 of in the deck. You kind of want it in your opening hand. Next up, we got our Brainstorm. Level 0, 2000 power. First effect activates 1 time per turn. When you use an act, you choose one of your characters, it gets 500 power till end of turn. So when you use the Brainstorm effect, that's an act. So you can give something power. And then on your opponent's turn, when you use like a backup or something, you can also give 500 power. And then the Brainstorm is pay 1 stock, rest 2 of your characters. You don't have to rest him, so you can like do this multiple times a turn if you had to, like get through your deck and have extra cards. Reveal 4 cards from the top of your deck. For each climax, search your deck for a thief character, and then add it to your hand and shuffle your deck. So pretty good like search Brainstorm. It is rest 2, which is unfortunate because sometimes like early in the game you want to like be attacking, and then you have to decide if you want to like brainstorm or like attack. But the other effect is pretty nice. A little bit of power here and there is good. But yeah, just your typical search brainstorm. I'm only playing 3 because you don't need 4. Like it's important to the deck, but I don't think it's like, it's pretty easy to like search it out. I don't know. I haven't had a problem really finding any. And then next up we got this Ryuji. Ryuji, it's a deal. Level 0, 2500 power, so like pretty big for like not a vanilla. On play, discard a card from your hand. When you play it from your hand, you can discard a card and get the calling card back. So that's really good. It gets rid of like climaxes in your hand if you need to discard those. We'll talk about the event in a little bit, but the event's really important for the deck, and this gets it back. So when you're like doing your mulligans, you can discard the event, and then if you have this, you can get it back. So a pretty like common turn 1 play if you don't draw like the Futaba is like, you know, doing your mulligans, and then, you know, you'll play this, discard a card you don't need, like a level 3 or something, or a Climax that you don't need. Typically, you're not going to discard a Climax that early in the game because both of our Climaxes are pretty good. But yeah, then you'll just like get this back, and then you'll have it for when you level up. Okay, so now on to another one of our back row support. So typically for our back row, we want the Brainstorm in this. All of your other Thief characters get 500 power, so it's a global 500 assist on both players' turn. Pay 1 stock. When damage dealt by your direct attacking character is not cancelled, choose a face-down card in your opponent's memory, put it into their waiting room, and if you pay the cost, you may salvage a Thief character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. This is a little like awkward because typically like direct attacks, I mean, there's a lot of good like synergy with the calling card and this, but when you're direct attacking, you're doing more damage, and your attacks are less likely to stick. So this is a little like I feel like this doesn't happen when I want it to happen, but it's kind of just a nice thing to just randomly get. It's possible to like trigger a Climax, and then if they just eat it, then you can pay out the Climax with this. But if you like trigger a Climax, you're doing extra damage, and usually they'll like cancel that. So it doesn't really work how you want it to. But it's a global assist. Sometimes it can plus you. So yeah, we're playing 2. Next up, we got Protagonist as Joker, Destiny Awaits. Level 0, 500 power. On play from stage, from hand, look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it there or put it on the bottom of your deck. So this is really good for our finishing combo, as well as it pairs well with the Brainstorm. It can make your Brainstorms like 5 cards, and with the Futaba, you can even do like 6-card Brainstorms, which is pretty cool. And then the second effect is pay 1 stock, put this card into your clock. When it becomes reversed in battle, you may pay the cost. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 to hand, and put the rest in the waiting room. So it's like a small plus. It can grab any card. So it can grab Climaxes for your like Climax combos. It can grab events. So it can grab anything you want. At the cost of only looking at like 2 cards. But yeah, we'll come back to this because this is really important for like our Joker turns later. Now on to our one-ofs. So we got a standard drop searcher. So level 0, 2500 power, swimsuit Protagonist. Pay a stock, discard a card from your hand on play. You may search your deck for up to 1 Thief character, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So this kind of counts as like another copy of pretty much everything in the deck. Most of my decks will play 1 drop searcher, usually, just because it's a nice little consistency thing. It's not a plus, but sometimes you can discard extra Climaxes if you're flooding on those, or if you need your combo, you can grab anything. So that's why it's in there. Also, the cool thing about this, I'll come back to. Hopefully, I'll remember to come back when I get to calling card. But this is pretty good with that too. Next we have 1, and it's a deal. Level 0, 2000 power. On play, discard a Climax. If you do, you choose a Thief character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. So again, if you're flooding on Climaxes, you can discard 1 and bring back any character from your waiting room back to your hand. So pretty versatile card. Sometimes if like you need to get your Brainstorm back, if it like dies or something, yeah, it can just get back a lot of things. I mean, you're never going to have like perfect opening hands like every game. So there'll be times where you don't draw your Futaba or your Ryuji, and you're just going to have like, a mediocre character you're going to swing with, and then it's going to die. This can like get those support pieces back. But again, just a pretty versatile card. And then our last card is this is like off color, so it's not, and it's off trait. Level 0, 2000 power. I don't even know how to say this name, Sadayo Kawakami. Its traits are teacher and maid, so it's not thief, or what else is there in here? Sports, sports, net. Yeah, pretty much everything is thief except for this, and pretty much everything in the deck only searches thief. So this is pretty hard to get, but it has a pretty cool effect. If you're at level 3 or higher, and this card gets the following ability, Act, you can put this card into your waiting room, choose up to one card named Protagonist, Joker, and Arsene in your hand, and put it on the stage that this was on. So basically it allows you to play your Joker without paying any stock. And sometimes we get a little bit low on stock because we need to use our stock to like keep up our card advantage and stuff. And our level 3 turns, ideally, will have 4 level 3s out. So we would need 8 stock for that. But this allows us to only need 6. So that's pretty cool. I believe you can search it off this Joker as well. Because, yeah, we'll get into that. But, yeah, so you either have to like keep it in your hand like the entire game, or you can search it off Joker. But you can't salvage this with Anne. You can't salvage it with this Anne. You can't search it off the Joker. You can't get it off calling card. But I think it's like a nice one of. It's not really a big deal. Yeah. I guess there was one game where I had like 5 cards left in deck and I brainstormed, and then this was the only card in there and I couldn't grab it. So that was funny. But yeah, so pretty cool card. That's it for level 0s. Sorry that took so long, but that's 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So a little high. A little high on level 0s. Oh my god. I needed water and that did not help. Okay. A little high on level 0s. I like having a good level 0 game. Like I like having options at level 0. The downside in this deck is our finisher requires cards that aren't level 0. So I might try cutting one of these, but I don't know which one I would want to cut. I like all of them, and I don't have like a ton of other space. So yeah, it's a little high on level 0s for this deck, but I kind of like where it is right now. Now onto level 1s. So there is another level 1 that you can play. It's like the marker jokers. There's like 2 of them, and like at the beginning of your opponent's like turn, you can like swap them with like the other in the waiting room and put it like underneath as a marker. And depending on what color it's facing, it gets power. So they get pretty big. I believe there are 4Ks and they get like, I think they get like 3, so they're 7K. So they're pretty big. The problem is they take up so much more space in the deck. And like a lot, like I feel like a good amount of decks right now can just like either get over it or have multiple colors at level 1 and can just like run it over. Because if it's not facing the correct color, then it's only 4K and that gets ran over by everything. So that's why I don't like playing that. But this is a level 1 4500 Ryuji. It gets 500 power for each of your other thief or sports characters. So continuous on both players' turn. If you have a full field, it's 6/5. If you have the and, then it's 7. So it's the same, about the same power level as the other one, but it's a lot easier to like get, and you don't need the other combo pieces of having the other one in the waiting room. Yeah, it's just like an easier. It's just a vanilla beater essentially, and it's easier to get the effect. Like, it's easier to have characters out, because like you should be having a full field at level 1 usually. Next up, we got our event for the deck. Calling card, no cost, level 1. If there are no face down cards in your opponent's memory, your opponent chooses a card in their hand, puts it face down in their memory, and then draws up to 1 card. So if they like sculpted like a perfect hand, they have to like lose 1, which is pretty funny. Most of the time, they usually have a card they don't care about getting rid of. But yeah, so it forces your opponent to cycle. And then you can look at up to the top 4 cards of your deck, choose one thief character from among them, reveal it to your opponent, and put it in your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. So first deck, this is really good at just milling like 4. You just go for the full 4 and just try to get through your deck as quickly as possible so you can refresh with more climaxes. Also, it just adds a ton of consistency to the deck of grabbing like what you need, grabbing backups, grabbing your back row pieces. Very good card. I like these types of effects. And then the last effect is you may choose one of your opponent's cost 0 or less characters in the center stage and return it to their hand. So some of these decks, like this deck's like characters are, I would say, relatively weak. And back to what I was saying, like against standby, this doesn't bounce any standby targets because they usually cost stock. Because you usually standby them out to not pay the stock cost. But like back to what I was saying about like the drop searcher, like playing weak characters like this or like the Ryuji to like get this back, you can use this to bounce one of your opponent's like characters and then get a direct attack with something smaller. There are like of course scenarios where you just want to ram these in to like something just to like leave only like big cards out or bigger cards out so you can try to like use a backup and prevent your opponent's like on reverse effects. But usually you just want to get a free direct attack for 2 damage. Also, it basically helps this Anne, because by putting the card into their memory, it has this, and now you get the free direct attack. And if it sticks, if you're swinging for 2, that's not like overly big. So you might stick that, and then you can pay a stock and salvage character. So like these 3 cards kind of work really well together, because this will get this back, and then you can use it. Setting this up, digging through your deck for whatever piece you need, and then bouncing something, getting the direct attack, which now, again, sets this up and allows for that to be good. So very, like, synergy-based, like, card. I'm maxing it at 4. I've seen some people play 3. I just want the full 4. It's also really important for our, like, finishing turn. And... yeah, I think it's a really good card. It's easy to get back. You can use it multiple times in a turn if you want. Now, if you do bounce your opponent's character, you are not reversing it. So usually you don't use it. Like if you can choose not to bounce something if you just want to reverse all of your opponent's characters. But bouncing the thing, like bouncing the character, will get you some free damage and allow you to get your other effects off, which is why we're playing it. Next up, we got a backup, Morgana as Mona. It's a deal. It's just a standard 2000 backup, free, no cost. With our Brainstorm ability, it becomes a 2/5 backup. So if this is like 6/5, it becomes 8. If we have this, it's like 8/5. So it's like pretty big. But yeah, just 2. Also, we don't use this that often. But it also slightly color fixes us, because this is mostly a mono yellow deck, but I'm splashing a little bit of red, like as little as possible, pretty much. But yeah, last card for level 1, we got Protagonist P5. Level 1, 5,000 power. On attack, choose one of your other thief characters, and that character gets plus X power till end of turn. X is 500 times the number of other characters, thief characters you have. So on attack, basically you give 2,000. If you have a full field, you give 2,000 to another character, which allows you to like get the Joker up for on reverses, allows you to run over things. I wouldn't say it's like the most powerful card, but it comes up sometimes and it's searchable. So it's just a nice one of, and it's just another attacker. If you have this out though, like sitting in the back for whatever reason, because sometimes you'll use this to rest with the Brainstorm, so you'll rest those 2 to Brainstorm. But if you have this out, this does not give this power, and this does not give this power either, because it's off trait. So you just have to keep that in mind for that. But it doesn't come up that often. Next up is level 2s. But I would argue that this card is essentially a level 1 because it's kind of like our level 1 combo. But it's a 2/1 Joker, Protagonist as Joker, all-out attack. Costs 1 stock. If the number of thief characters you have is 4 or more, this card gets -1 level. So if you have like almost a full board, this can be your last character. So very rarely do you play multiples of these in the same turn. I mean, you can, but it costs like extra stock and you have to minus yourself. So that might be worth it if you can like plus, but yeah. Climax Combo with the show's over. When you reverse your opponent, if you have that climax in your climax area and the number of other thief characters you have is 4 or more, you draw a card, search your deck for up to 1 level 1 or lower character, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So it's good. It's a little awkward. Of course, it doesn't work if this is out. Like, you can't even play this when that's out, and you can't use the effect if that's out. So just don't play that very often. I mean, I kind of just giving myself reasons to not play that card, but I still like that card as a one-of. But yeah, so like drawing the card is fine. It's just a random plus, and then searching for the level 1 or lower. Unfortunately, you can't use this to set up for your level 3s, which is like unfortunate. But it can search for it can search for just more attackers. It can search for your backups, which is probably the most likely thing I search for it. Unless like I need like the drop searcher is also pretty good to search with that, because the drop searcher then can become a level 3 or like a 2 or a 3. But usually I feel like I end up getting the backup, or maybe like the Ryuji that can get the calling card back. Yeah, so I feel like these 3 are the most likely cards I grab off this. But yeah, like it's a +2. Like, it is on reverse, so that kind of sucks if your opponent walls up too big, or if they have like runners or ways to bounce things. But it's 7k with the climax, it becomes 8. And then if you have like brainstorms and this, it'll become like 9. So it's like pretty big. This can make it 11. So you can get over a lot of stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty much the level 1 combo of the deck. Then we have another card, level 2, 1 stock, 5,000 power, Protagonist, Prisoner of Fate. All of your other cards named Protagonist as Joker and Arsene get 500 power and the following ability. During your turn, when you reverse your opponent's character, look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. So it's pretty cool if you use this as the last attack. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then assist, during your turn, all of your characters in front of this card get X power, which X is equal to 1,000 times the level. So it's a level assist. So if you have level 3s in front of it, it gets 3,000 power on your turn, which is huge. So this is really important for allowing you to get reverses. So eventually, if this is like your ideal back row, once you hit level 2, you want to search this out or have it ready. And then you'll just like get rid of one of these. So it's not uncommon to like brainstorm tapping both of these, you know, maybe search this out even, and then you'll play it over probably the Anne as like your new back row kind of support kind of thing. If you really need the power, you can keep the Anne, but the brainstorm can kind of do the same thing. It just costs like stock to trigger the act effect. But yeah, very like good card, and we'll come back to this when we're talking about the finishers. And then our last level 2 is an anti-early play level 2, 1 stock, 7,000 power, Ryuji as Skull and Captain Kid. When it attacks, if the character facing this card is level 3 or higher, it gets 6,000 power until end of turn. So it's a 13k attacker against level 3s. So again, just gets over pretty much all early plays. I'm sure there's some that get too big, but we have even more ways to give it more power if we had to. Then it has a Climax Combo, but we don't play the Climax Combo, so we don't even worry about that effect. But basically just another way to deal with early plays, because we don't really have a lot of ways to deal with early plays. Okay, so now on to level 3s. I guess I'll talk about this one first. So, because this kind of goes into our level 2 game. This is our early play. It's a 3-2 Morgana as Mona and Zoro. If the number of climax in your waiting room is 2 or less, it gets -1 level. So again, early play, not the best type of early play. but I mean, it's still something. On play from hand, you may heal 1 from clock to waiting room. And then on attack, if you have 2 or more other thief characters, it gets 2,000 power till end of turn. So it attacks for 11.5, so it's a pretty big attacker. So usually we can use this to kill other early plays if we need to. But it's just a nice early play healer. You don't have to play this. Like, there's a version of this deck that's just pure yellow and doesn't play any red, or at least no red at like level 3. You'll still play the backup and maybe some level 0s. But sometimes you have a little bit of extra stock and you just want to like heal down to give yourself more time to build up for like your finishers. And like I said before, it's kind of one of our few ways to get over early plays, because other than this, these are like our only 3 cards that can get over early plays. The rest of our stuff is just probably too small. But yeah, so just a pretty good card. Don't want to play too many of it because it's not like our main plan. Our plan is not to play down 2 of these or 3 of these. 1 is usually just fine. And sometimes even 1, you just choose not to play it because you need resources for your finishing turns. So it's not 100% needed. Next up, we have our finisher of the deck, but it's not even like a Climax Combo finisher, which is pretty cool. So we kind of have like 2 finishers, honestly. Level 3 Joker, 2 cost, 9,000 power. Protagonist as Joker in our scene. Or Arsene, I don't even know. I don't remember. It's been a while. So continuous, it gets 500 power for each other thief character. So it's an 11k, beater. When you play it from stage, from hand, you may take the top card of your clock and put it into your waiting room. So it's a 11k healer, which are like probably like my favorite kind of cards, just because they're big, they heal. You don't have to go for your finisher if you don't want to, because you can. They're pretty big, so usually you can protect them, or sometimes your opponent just can't even get over 11k. And then it's big finishing move, which is like basically what the entire deck is based around, and like the main reason to play this deck, I would think. 3 stock, put a thief character from your hand into your waiting room. At the beginning of your encore step, if your opponent does not have any characters in his or her center stage, or if all of your opponent's characters are reversed, you may pay the cost. So basically, you have to have killed all your opponent's characters or bounced the ones that you couldn't kill. You may pay the cost of the 3 stock and discard a thief. If you do, each thief character in your center stage perform the following action: reveal the top card of your deck, put it on the bottom of your deck, and deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to that card's level. So essentially, you'll flip over the top card of your deck 3 times, and put it on the bottom, and for each card, you'll burn whatever that card's level is. So if you flip over a 0 or a climax, you burn 0. So that's why you don't want to play too many level 0s. You don't want to cut any climaxes, of course. But like the best things that hit with this are like 3s and 1s. 3s if you're like behind on damage and just want to try to like catch up, or like 1s if your opponent just is really compressed. You can just go 1-1-1 or something if you're lucky. It's a little bit hard to control this. From what I've played with like the deck, but it's like a very powerful finisher. Like you can definitely kill from like 2-0 with this card. I would not say that's a consistent thing though. I've definitely had games where you just like can't get to the bottom of your deck and then just like whiff and just hit like 0 climax 0, and it's just bad news. Okay, so this combos with this, essentially. So if you attack with this last and reverse your opponent, you can use this effect to look at the top card, and you can leave it there if it's like a good card to burn with, or you can put it on the bottom if it's like a level 0 or a climax and you don't want to like whiff on your burn. So that's pretty cool. So it helps this a little bit. This card, back what I was saying, when you play this card, you can look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it there or put it on the bottom of your deck. This, if you see a 3, you can put it on the bottom of your deck. Ideally, what happens is you're in your second deck, you have this out, you reverse all your opponent's stuff, like But before you even do that, you need to be using like calling cards and Ryujis to get back calling cards and mill down your deck after you've played this card to put a good card at the bottom. So if you play this, see a 3, put it on the bottom, then you try to mill through your deck down to like, let's put it in the waiting room. I forgot. Yeah, top of your deck or waiting room. So yeah, so you can mill, so you have 3 attacks. This is a card, so you need to get down to 4 cards. This can make it 5. So if you can get down to 5 cards and put, yeah, like, oh my god, I lost what I was saying. So yeah, if you have like 5, if you use this to put something on the bottom, like a level 3, like here, and then you have like 4 cards left, you have your 3 attacks, and then you can get another one from this. So you need to get down to like 5 cards in your deck. And basically you do that by brainstorming and calling card multiple times. You can even drop search within your deck 1. And you just try to get down to those cards. And then when you do the effect, if there's only 1 card left in your deck and it's a 3, you're going to reveal the 3, burn 3, put it on the bottom, and then it's the only card left, so you'll do it again, then you do it a 3rd time. So that's like 9 damage right there. So that's like the ideal thing. I feel it's very unrealistic to have like 2 Jokers out and have enough stock to do it. Like, people like talk, I've heard people talk about like burning for like 18 or like 27. I'm like, this has never happened. Like, there are just too many like scenarios for that to be like realistic, I think. But yeah, so in a perfect world, you do extra damage. It's like getting free attacks. But yeah, who's calling now? All right, and our last level 3 is Ryuji as Skull All-Out Attack. Level 3, 2 stock, 10,000 power. This is our other Climax combo with a stock soul. On play from stage from hand, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 from among them, put it in your hand, and put the rest in your waiting room. So this can grab its own Climax combo. It can grab like another level 3 to keep going through the deck. It mills through your deck so you can get down to your like Joker play. Yeah, I can like dig for this, dig for a backup. It can grab a lot of things. Even this is pretty good. And then Climax Combo. When this is placed in your Climax zone, you may discard a card. If it's in your center stage, so in the front, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters and return it up to one of your opponent's characters. Return it to their hand. Choose one of your Thief or Schwarz characters until end of turn. It gets 1,000 power and the following ability of like cancel burn. So when you cancel this attack, you burn 1. So sometimes your opponent just has really big things and we can't don't have enough power to get over it. So you'll use this Climax combo to bounce the big one. You'll reverse the small ones, and then you'll be able to get your Joker effect off. So I think these 2 combo really well. I've seen Joker played with like other level 3s. I just think this is like the best one to be pairing it with. But yeah, so like usually I like this card also just because it just helps. It's a very good like chainable card essentially. And what I mean by that is when you like play it by doing the top 3 check, it's very easy to just go and hit another one and then like hit your climax. So sometimes you'll just be in a really bad situation and you only have 1, and just sometimes you'll like randomly get out of that situation by just hitting a second one, playing that, hitting your combo, and then you can go from there. So I really like this card. Your field at level 3, like the most likely field that I have would be like double Ryuji, Joker, then like Brainstorm, and then either the Protagonist or like this one, whichever back row assist. Like if you were able to find this is like perfect. This is probably like the best. I mean, maybe if you had to play this or something. And this isn't too hard to do. Normally you would need like 6 stock, 7 stock if you play all these in the same turn. This can help bring it down to 5, so it's not super stock intensive. And the 3 stock for this happens at the end of the turn. So you get your 3 attacks, and then you just use your stock, and it's fine. So you don't need any extra stock. So you can go into this turn having 0 stock. This also gives you a stock. When you play this, you take a yellow card from your waiting room, put it in your stock. So that's pretty cool. It does require a lot of hand, because this discards a card, this discards a card, and this discards a card. So that can sometimes be a problem. But yeah, so this will be your board. You'll play your Climax. You'll take, like, I don't know, level 0, put it into your stock or something. You'll discard 2 cards. You'll bounce, like, 2 of their things. I believe you can bounce a... Yeah, so you can bounce their back row too. So if they have like one big thing you can't get over, you can bounce that and then use the other one to bounce their back row. Give the direct attack the cancel burn, because it's more likely to be canceled, and then the other one doesn't really matter. Whatever one needs power to run over the other thing, because you can give it 1,000 power. And then yeah, you just like swing for, this is going to be a direct attack, so it's like swinging for 4 with cancel burn. This will swing for like 3. And then this will also be like 3. And then at the end of the turn, you'll have like 4 stock. You pay the 3, discard a card, and then you go for the burn play. So yeah, that's pretty much like how the finishing turn like work. You can also, if you reverse with this, do the little check thing and dig another card. But yeah, so like even if you don't get your little like perfect play thing where you have like the bottom card of 3 and you just burn 3, burn 3, burn 3. Even these burning 1 if they cancel, and this burning like a, say like a 0, a 1, and a 3 is pretty likely, because we have a good amount of 3s, 1s, and 0s, so hitting 1 of each seems normal. So that's still a lot of like extra damage. So you can still kill pretty consistently from like 3-0. But yeah, I feel like I spent too much time just talking about this deck, I think. But yeah, the deck's pretty cool. It's a little old, so it's not like perfect, but I think it's still a strong deck. It can definitely still, the Joker combo, if you get it off, can kill any deck, just with the sheer amount of power it has. I don't know if I went over the climaxes, but this is a stock soul comboing with this. And this is just a 1k1. It is a win trigger. I don't think I mentioned that at all, actually. So sometimes if you just get super lucky with like Joker and you can't get over their thing and you didn't get your like Ryuji combo off, sometimes you just sack and just hit a win trigger, bounce their big thing, and now it's not there anymore, and now you can just randomly burn them and kill them. That's happened a couple times. So that's kind of cool. I think win triggers are like, you know, pretty, I feel like they're pretty average. Like sometimes it can just win you the game. Bouncing standby targets is pretty good. If we didn't have a win trigger, like we would just not be able to get through standby at all. But there's a lot of times where you just don't want to bounce anything because you don't want to give your opponent the option of like another card to clock or saving their character. You can bounce their like back row assists, which would like get rid of some of their like you know, defensive capabilities. But yeah, so like I feel like early game, if you hit a win trigger, it's a dead trigger. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't plus you. I guess that's another thing to talk about is none of our triggers like plus really when we trigger them. They're just like extra damage or bouncing, so that kind of sucks. The stock soul does give us a soul or a stock, which we can use to turn into cards. But yeah, so that's it for the Persona 5 deck profile for the Weiss TCG. Gosh, I hope this wasn't too long. I just keep talking, I don't know why. But yeah, if you guys have any comments or recommendations, if you like this type of content, please like let me know. If you want to see matches with this deck specifically, again, just leave comments. But yeah, if you're interested in the Weiss TCG or like learning how to play, we have like a learning how to play video for Adventure Time. And we'll have like match videos if you guys want those as well. But yeah, thank you guys very much. I hope I didn't miss anything. If I did, please let me know. I'm still new to this like deck profile thing. I did one for Kantai, and I'll probably do one for Attack on Titan next. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and again, if you like the video, leave a like. If you like this content, subscribe. And thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.